We need Greenland from a national security situation.
We need that for international security, not just security, international. We have a lot of our favorite players, cruising around the coast. We need Greenland for national protection.
Our message is very simple. Yes, the people of Greenland are going to have self-determination. We hope that they choose to partner with the United States because we're the only nation on earth that will respect their sovereignty and respect their security, because their security is very much our security.
After Venezuela, Trump's new obsession is Greenland. The POTUS wants to acquire it, but the fixation over the Arctic island is not a new one. The Trump administration has been floating the idea of annexing the island soon after taking over the Oval Office. However, the White House's recent statement hinting at possible military intervention sent shockwaves through Denmark and Greenland. For the last few months, the Trump cabinet has continuously tried to push the idea of how important Greenland is to the United States' national security. China's and Russia's significant activity near the Arctic island is seen as a threat to the U.S., and Trump has openly expressed displeasure over the presence of Chinese and Russian ships all over Greenland. Plus, he doesn't think that Denmark can do anything about it.
I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true.
Sir,
they thought that was a great move.
What would the justification be for a claim to Greenland? What would the justification
I don't want to talk about Greenland now. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And the European Union needs us to have it, and they know.
There has been an expansion of the security footprint and the security interest of Russia and China. They're doing what they believe is in their interest. The United States must do what I know is in our interest, which is to make sure that Greenland is safe. If Greenland doesn't have self-determination, if the people of Greenland have their future controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, it's not going to make their lives better off. And most importantly, it's going to make American and world national security, world security, much weaker. We can't, we in some ways need to wake up. We need to wake up from a failed 40-year consensus that said that we could ignore the encroachment of powerful countries as they expand their ambitions. We can't just bury our head in the sand, or in Greenland, bury our head in the snow and pretend that the Chinese are not interested in this very large landmass. We know that they are. They've taken steps to put Greenland in ridiculous debt traps to invest and exploit the resources here. And we know that they're sending a lot of military resources here. Yes, over the medium term, the United States will meet that challenge. We will put our own resources here. We already have a lot of great resources here, but we know we're going to have to do more to counter some of the nations that we know that we're competitive with.
Following Trump's increasing demands for control over Greenland, European leaders voiced solidarity with Denmark and Greenland. Leaders across Europe issued a joint statement after Trump's threat to seize the Danish territory. European officials stressed that security in the Arctic must be achieved collectively in conjunction with NATO allies, including the United States, underscoring a unified front on regional defense.
The future of Greenland is for Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark, and for Greenland and the future of Denmark only. And Denmark is a very close ally of the UK, both in Europe and in NATO, and it's very important that we're clear about the principles applicable here. Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark must determine the future of Greenland and nobody else.
European support for Denmark and Greenland did not go down well with the Trump administration. And soon after, the White House issued a statement that sent chills down the spine of the Arctic island. What did the statement say? It suggested that Trump and company are capable of acting without congressional approval and could replicate the kind of devastation seen during Venezuela's operation, this time in Europe. The White House clearly stated that the U.S. military is always an option to acquire Greenland.
President Trump has made it well known that acquiring Greenland is a national security priority of the United States, and it's vital to deter our adversaries in the Arctic region. The president and his team are discussing a range of options to pursue this important foreign policy goal, and of course, utilizing the U.S. military is always an option at the commander-in-chief's disposal.
Denmark and Greenland want to sit down with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio after the Trump administration refused to budge from its intention to gain control over the strategic Arctic island within Danish territory. The White House's military threat clearly worked. Danish Foreign Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen and Greenland's Foreign Minister Vivian Motzfeldt have asked to meet with Rubio in the near future. The statement noted that earlier attempts to arrange a meeting were unsuccessful. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has consistently made it clear since former President Trump's remarks about wanting Greenland that Greenland is not for sale. Before the escalation on January 6th, the Danish Prime Minister issued a firm warning to U.S. President Donald Trump, stating that any attempt by the United States to take over Greenland would effectively end NATO.
First of all, I believe that we should take the American president seriously when he says that he wants Greenland. But I also want to make it clear that if the USA chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops, including our NATO membership and thus the security that has been established since the end of the Second World War. I agree that it's important to have security, peace, and safety in the Arctic region. That is, after all, one of the reasons why we are in NATO. Greenland is also a member of NATO. It is a shared responsibility for the Arctic states, including the Kingdom, to ensure that there is security, peace, and freedom in the Arctic region. But Denmark has always been a good ally to the United States. We want to continue to be that. But I also have to object to some of the things being said by the American side. And of course, we will not accept a situation where we in Greenland are threatened in this way.
Greenland's leader declared that enough is enough, while Denmark's European allies emphasized that decisions about the Arctic island's future must be made solely by its people. Their statements were a direct response to renewed comments from President Trump about asserting control over the territory. No more pressure, no more hints, no more fantasies about annexation. Greenland's Prime Minister's loud and clear message to the American president.
The United States of America took over Venezuela within a mere few hours, and Greenland is an even easier target than Venezuela. What do you truly think about that particular assertion? First of all, I have to say that our country is absolutely not the kind of nation to compare with Venezuela, a nation that has faced significant political and economic turmoil. In stark contrast, we have a country that is fundamentally democratic, a nation that has proudly maintained its democratic principles and institutions for a great many decades, consistently upholding the values of freedom and self-governance. And if we take a moment to truly look at the broader, bigger picture, I can certainly understand that some individuals and groups are genuinely concerned about the potential implications or future developments, but it's crucial to consider the full context. But the ongoing cooperation and the significantly intensified collaboration that we are actively pursuing right now means that we very much want to fully restore the extensive and productive previous cooperation we had with the United States of America, especially within the framework of the excellent and mutually beneficial cooperation we have historically had. to diligently work to bring it completely back between us once again. The current situation is not such that the United States of America can simply conquer the beautiful and vast land of Greenland. That is absolutely not the case at all. Therefore, we should not panic unnecessarily. We urgently need to restore the good and productive cooperation we have historically had. We are actively exploring all available possibilities, and we are carefully assessing the entire situation right now.